All right, y'all, what's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with another post-fight analysis video. All right, y'all, Mackenzie Dern versus Tecia Torres. Mackenzie Dern is able to pull out a split decision over Tecia Torres. Look, I watched this fight twice. I already told you how I felt. By the time, I put this video, I already done a live stream talking about it, but I just want to, drop my actual analysis of the fight. I watched it twice. I watched it with y'all during the live stream, and I watched it again one more time before I hit the bed, and my mind hasn't changed. Look, in a technical standpoint, I think Tecia Torres, she did enough to win. Was it a robbery? Okay, I can't say it was a full-on robbery because it is one of those situations where I was like, if I was in the corner, I would say, Tecia, you got to step your game up in this last round. It's tied up 1-1. If you don't do it, then you'll know who to blame, right? I mean, we can blame the judges, of course, but we can also say that, look, Tecia, this is your moment that you need to go in there and make a big statement. And if you don't do that, hey, look, you're going to have to say it to yourself that, look, I should have stepped my game up, right? And that's the situation here. Like, similar to Joanne Wood and Lauren Murphy, we kind of had that situation. Joanne Wood had plenty of opportunities to go in there and outwork Lauren Murphy and go in there for the kill, but she did, right? Same in this fight here. Tecia Torres, the better striker, all around, better wrestling. It should have been on her to step on the gas in the third round because, like I always say, if you listen to some of my previous videos, certain fighters, you have 4 opponents. You got the opponent in the octagon standing across from you. Then you have those 3 opponents that are sitting ringside. Those are the ones that you got to make adjustments against, and you have to impress, and you have to beat them, right? That's what Tecia Torres needed to do in this fight, and that's why I say a lot of trainers have to train their fighters to do, like teach them to fight in different type of rhythms where they can go in there and dominate and shut these judges up. You got to shut these judges up. And in this fight here, Tecia, again, technically won, outlanded, did everything she was supposed to do. But let's be honest, she didn't close the show the way she needed to. Mackenzie Dern was always moving, always relentless, and that's what they looked at in this case. They were looking at relentlessness. Again, I don't agree with that, but that's what the judges looked at. So looking back at the fight real quick, round 1, Dern did what I said she was going to do. She came storming out. Torres doing what I said she would do, using angles, ducking out of harm's way. Torres landing her overhand right, using some angles nicely. She had a little bit more pop on the shot. She probably could have got Dern's respect. But, Dern, she kept committing to coming forward. Footwork still a bit sloppy, still a bit off. So Torres was just able to expose that with the movement, just ducking and turning and hitting Dern with those right hands. In the clinch, Torres, she looked to be the stronger fighter. Did well controlling it, kept Dern from tripping her or taking her down. Torres, she was landing those nice right hands to the head and body. But as Dern would storm in, Torres would turn in that southpaw position, and she started landing those nice little oblique kicks. And to me, that was counting because you could see they were having an effect, those nice oblique kicks to Dern's lead leg. So you had combinations, inside leg kicks. Dern, she landed some decent strikes in there, but Dern, to me, she was just too busy, just really turning Mackenzie Dern to keep her confused. But Dern, she did sting Torres towards the end of the round. She did sting her with like 20 seconds to go with a hard right hand that kind of put Torres on freeze mode for a minute and respect mode. And that's what she needed to do. But what did Torres do? She came back with some more side kicks to keep the lead in the round. Second round, now this is like that Marina Rodriguez scare, like Marina Rodriguez versus Mackenzie Dern. Torres going back to controlling distance. She was sticking and moving a little bit, sticking Dern with combinations. But as soon as they clinch up this time, what does Dern do against the cage? She pulls guard, tries to pull guard, but Torres, she kept it standing, holding Dern up and using that cage to avoid getting pulled down. She kept her support here because Dern, she was looking to pull guard because if she did, she get this fight down to the ground, she probably could have got an arm bar. But what did Torres do? She kept her up. She was able to survive. But all the while, Dern, she's using that cage, like I said, to her advantage. She's using it to her advantage because here with her back to the cage, she's grabbing that arm of Torres trying to get that standing Kimura, right? She's trying to get that standing Kimura, which Torres is doing well fighting that off. She's breathing, surviving here, keeping that arm. She's keeping that arm in the position where it's not going all the way behind her back. Finally, Torres, she goes to the ground and she survives that, breaks free. Torres to me was doing very well. She was doing the best that she could here on the ground, but Dern's just quick here. She traps another arm trying to go for an arm bar here, but Torres was neutralizing it. So Dern really couldn't do much here off of her back. You know, she just had that arm trapped in that position, so Torres couldn't escape. It wasn't really an armbar scare, but it was a position where it could have turned into an armbar if Torres made the wrong move. So Torres was doing well, just really defending a lot of these submission attempts. And how was she doing that? With her wrestling and her physical strength. You know, she's lucky she had that wrestling in this fight. That's how she was able to stop a lot of Dern's submission attempts. See, if Dern was more of a wrestler, Dern could have started getting a lot of positions here, you know, getting that position over submission, and she probably could have outworked and mauled Torres, but instead she was just looking for submissions, so she wasn't really wearing her down, but it was still high pace for Torres. So Torres did very well to me. You know, she was quick, but as soon as another limb came free, what did Dern do? She went for a heel hook. She tried to go for a heel hook, or she tried to go for that foot lock as well. She was just really in there, like, trying. That's why I said, like, you really got to get out of harm's way the minute you break free, or the minute she goes for a limb, you got to start fighting hands. You got to fight wrists. So this round here, Dern, she ends on top, you know, landing some shots behind her as well to the head of Torres and just keeping that foot locked in, you know, that foot lock attempt, and she finished on top. So, yeah, hands down, she won the second round. So it was 2-2 at this point. Third round, to me, Torres, she was going back to that oblique kick, staying consistent, landing a few of those shots. You know, Dern did land a good body kick of her own, hard body kick. You know, Torres, you know, she was landing a lot of those side kicks to the body. You know, Dern, I give her credit. She wouldn't stop coming forward. I did say that. She was being relentless in this fight. But her footwork was still off here. Torres was still just staying busier. You know, Dern get in a shot or two here and there. Hard, you know, she did land a few hard shots, but then as she would shoot in, you know, she would start getting pieced up. You know, she shot in once, ate a hard head kick from Torres, but she locked up here. She was able to lock up, but Torres, she was able to get out. She was able to get out, go right back to work. And there was a point where Dern did score a takedown, but again, this is what I'm saying, like, this is how good the scramble is from Torres, because she did get the takedown after that little scramble against the cage, I remember. And what did Torres do? She kicked her in the chest, bounced right back up, right? So she got some good separation. So these hard kicks, they're counting in my opinion. You know, they're counting to me. So when they get back to the feet, Torres, she lands a spinning kick to the body, you know, so to me that counts as well. That was a good, significant strike. Dern, she did land a few good right hands in the inside towards the end, but she missed a lot. She did miss a lot. And then towards the end of the round, Torres, she went in for a takedown, ended up on the bottom position, but it was like, 5 seconds left. So to me, that wasn't really like anything good for Dern or anything good for Torres, though. But overall, Torres was landing the better strikes. Oblique kicks to the lead leg, constantly doing that throughout the first and third round. Those spin kicks to the body, those push kicks to the body. She landed a good one to the chest in this round that kind of rattled Mackenzie Dern. All around, just good work. You know, significant work, plus the striking, plus the footwork, you know, where she's turning Dern. You can see Dern like having to jolt, turn, herky jerk, you know, to get back on her and just kind of follow Torres. So to me, I thought it was 2 rounds to 1. 2 rounds to 1, competitive. You know, Torres did have the work cut out for her in this fight, but all around, I think that she comfortably won the first round, and she did enough to win the third round when it comes down to it. You know, good work done by Torres, but the judges saw different. Of course, they gave her the second round. I guess the third round, they thought that the better shots were landed by Dern, but I disagree. She landed good shots, but, I mean, if you look at the numbers, I think Torres outlanded her by 20, 30 strikes or something like that, you know. But other than that, it's just one of those situations. Yeah, like a split decision Dern's way, but it's one of those things you just have to look at and say, okay, like as a cornerman, you say, well, you know, you had to step it up here. You had the skill, you had the will, you had the better striking, you did have the better wrestling, so why not? We should have been more offensive at times, right? We should have been more offensive here, because even on IG, Tecia said that she felt she won the fight, but she could have stepped it up a little bit more. So, yeah, she could have turned it up in that third round. Like, she could have been more offensive, because that could have thrown Dern off. You know, Dern's coming forward, but she's still, like I said, not as technically sound. So when Tecia did land those nice combinations, you know, go to the, you know, that oblique kick, she could have went upstairs with some hard shots, you know, got the respect. And I think if she would did that more coming forward and off the back foot instead of off the back foot, the judges would have gave it to her. I mean, in my opinion, you know, fighting off the back foot is impressive. And if you landing off the back foot, you're winning. So I don't know. It is what it is at this point. But questions were answered here, though. To me, I still think even though they gave Dern this fight, she still has a lot of work cut out for her to even think of, getting it before she gets in there with an elite fighter. And it did answer questions like, what would happen if she fought somebody Zhang Weili or Joanna at this point? With Marina Rodriguez, you saw what she did as a top-notch striker. So you know what Joanna could do. So there's still a lot of work for her to do. But as for Tecia showed what she's always doing. She showed what she was always doing, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. Good is that she hasn't really missed a beat, and she can still beat this level of a fighter. It just didn't go her way. Bad is that it's not good enough to beat Zhang Weili's, Rose, maybe Rose, because they have shared the ring a couple of times, octagon a couple of times, but she can't beat these fighters like Joanna, maybe Zhang Weili in a rematch, Andrade. There's still a level of killer instinct that she needs to pull out and be more offensive and like level up in these fights. Can't be too safe all the time, right? So that's the part where we didn't see any growth there, right? So yeah. From here, Mackenzie Dern, Yan Xiaonan, that sounds like a go. Maybe the loser of Weili versus Joanna. For Tecia Torres, maybe the loser of Weili versus Joanna. Rematch with one of them. Maybe somebody like I really don't know at this point for Tecia Torres. Maybe everything else would be a rematch because she's fought everybody, right? So we'll see for Tecia at this point. Maybe rematches. That's all. But at this point, yeah, I think she did beat Dern. But moving forward, you got to be a little bit more aggressive, and she's got to sit down on these shots. She's really got to sit down on these shots in there because it's not going to beat the championship level or get her there, right? So, guys, let me know in the comment section what y'all think. Robbery, what do you think at this point? Who do you think won the fight? Tecia Torres, Mackenzie Dern, Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.